Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice. You like that? All the relationship advice you don't want to hear.
All the relationship advice.
My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who finds their friend's partner deeply annoying. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we definitely are not. We are not professionals. We are not trained in any of this or accredited in any real special way. So please take our advice as you see fit as a supplement. We are only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding but mostly confusing experience that is love. All right, I'm going to dive right into today's letter. It's from Bad Friend, whose pronouns are they, them, who is writing to us from the void. Dear Sierra and Sam, I, a 28-year-old non-binary person, have been best friends with someone we'll call Maeve, 28, she, her, for almost 20 years. Woo, 20 years. I love that.
That's a lot.
Maeve has been in a relationship with her partner, we'll call Benny, 28, they, them, for 10 years. Before meeting Benny, Maeve had dated only one other guy in high school for a few months. She met Benny at the beginning of their freshman year of college, and they began monogamously dating for the first 7 years of their relationship. 3 years ago, in the midst of a quarantine, they decided to open up their relationship. The decision was not entirely a mutual one, but rather one that Benny imposed upon Maeve. Benny had fallen in love with a guy they had been gaming with online and told Maeve that they needed to date this guy right now and wanted to be in a polyamorous relationship with both him and Maeve. When Maeve's emotional response to this news did not change from distraught to celebratory after a few days, would anyone's, LOL, Benny kept interrogating her as to when she was going to get over this. The situation unfolded in such a way that made me really start to worry about Maeve. This pressure and urgency from Benny was highly triggering to Maeve and upsetting for me to hear about. Something Maeve kept saying was that she felt as though she had ruined their relationship by not being able to get over her hurt feelings fast enough. I told her that she hadn't ruined anything and that it was unfair for Benny to pressure her into being polyamorous, especially right after revealing they were in love with someone else. After lots of discussions and eventual apologies from Benny, they both agreed to try incorporating polyamory into their relationship. Fast forward 3 years to today, Benny is still dating the gamer, Maeve is dating a married couple and exploring other parts of her queer identity, and she is also engaged to Benny, who proposed on our friends group beach house trip this summer. They are going to get married next year, and here's the thing, Sierra and Sam, I am not excited about it at all. In fact, I'm dreading it. Not only do I highly dislike the way Benny went about opening up their relationship, but I admittedly have also found them incredibly irritating to be around for the last 10 years. I have tried so hard to be a good friend and to put my feelings about Benny aside. And I've even tried to challenge myself to be more accepting of them. But to be quite honest, I simply cannot stand to be around them. Benny is the type of person that likes to talk and talk and talk. And they leave no room for others to participate in the discussion. And this happens constantly. A chill friend gathering will quickly turn into a history lesson about medieval England. And I often feel as though I have no choice but to leave the room. Sometimes Maeve asks Benny to wrap it up when they get carried away babbling about something or other, usually historical facts. But many times the entire friend group ends up trapped in a lecture they feel too guilty to put an end to. I try to tell myself that Benny isn't my partner and that if I love Maeve, I need to support who she wants to spend her life with. But the fact that she's spending her life with Benny makes me feel like I'm stuck with them for life too. The thing is, I have no idea what to do about this. I don't feel as though I can tell Maeve any of this because 1, I don't want to hurt her feelings. 2, Benny isn't my partner and I'm not marrying them. And 3, I feel as though I don't have a real reason to have a problem with them. Yes, I do find them annoying. And no, I don't really agree with the way they impose polyamory onto the relationship so forcefully. But Maeve seems happy to be polyamorous now and seems to be genuinely happy and in love with Benny. Sierra and Sam, What do you think I should do? Should I talk to Maeve and tell her the truth about how I've been feeling? Do I continue to try and tolerate Benny and leave the room when I need a break from them? I find myself dreading their wedding, and this thought makes me feel like a terrible person. I don't really want my best friend to be unhappy at all, but I can't seem to genuinely throw my support behind their relationship with Benny. I've talked to my therapist, a friend, and my partner about this, and they all seem to think I need to work through my own feelings about disliking Benny and trust that if Maeve has a problem she wants me to help with, she will communicate that to me. But I still can't shake this nagging feeling about disliking my best friend's soon-to-be life partner. Even after writing all of this out, I still feel so confused and am genuinely worried that I'm just a bad friend. If there's any insight or musing you both have on this, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for reading this, and I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Bad Friend.
Oh, thank you, Bad Friend, for writing to us. I want to just start by saying you're not a bad friend.
Oh my God, no.
You clearly care about Maeve and want the best for her and want happiness in her life. And the fact that you don't like her partner doesn't make you a bad friend. It just makes you a human who has to sometimes be around people that they don't like. And that is okay and understandable. And, I think Sierra and I want to help love and support you in this, while also recognizing how challenging it is to, love somebody so deeply and want the best for them, and also look at their best and say, like, this is it. This is what you have chosen as the thing that you would like to find happiness in, right? Like the absolute discomfort in that. So we're going to get into some advice and some thoughts in just a second. But before we do that, we are going to take a short break.
All right, my darling. Thank you so much for writing and for trusting us with this letter. As Sam said, you are not a bad friend. You're absolutely not a bad friend. And before we dive into the meat of our letter, or of our advice, and before we dive into the actual meat of our advice, I just want to take a quick aside and say it is totally okay to feel complicated about a wedding. The wedding culture that we are in right now is one of oh my God, this is the most romantic, most important day of your life, even if it's someone else's wedding and it's all good vibes or whatever. There's 1,000 Instagram reels out there of just people crying at weddings from happiness.
Love that.
But you know what? There isn't. There's not 1,000 reels of people crying at weddings because they are unhappy, or a reel of somebody or a reel of somebody being like, man, I fucking hate the groom or whatever. But let me tell you, I know that exists. We are way too complicated and mismatched of a human species for that not to exist. It probably exists more than all the happy feelings. Just a reminder, just because we don't see them, just because we don't showcase these sort of experiences doesn't mean you're abnormal or a bad friend or anything. Also, I just want to say this is a really hard experience, to be in. It is emotionally challenging. I've been in your shoes before. A close friend of mine dated somebody that I didn't like for a long time. It's not Sam or Spencer, so don't do sleuthing.
I mean, it was me. I did date someone you didn't like, so that
oh my God,
also makes sense.
That was actually very hard, but I was too messy to care. I was my own chaotic bisexual, dumpster fire. So it was oh man, look at this other dumpster fire that my friend is dating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, calls to like.
Yeah, exactly. Like a moth to a moth. Anyway, so it's emotionally challenging because you've got this person, this intimate person, this history with this person. You've got this friend group, and then you have this one, it's almost like a splinter of a person where you're like, man, it would be so much better if this person wasn't here, make my thumb hurt, or being annoying or whatever. And it also runs deeper than that because I know when it comes to friendships and, partner friendship incompatibilities, it also makes you look at your friend differently. I remember feeling like, what do you see in this person? Am I reading you, my friend, wrong? So it's just confusing, and it's emotionally confusing because you don't necessarily have anywhere to put your feelings in an effective or productive way. And so your confusion is valid. Your complicated feelings are valid. And at the same time, I'm probably going to tell you the same or vaguely the same advice as your friend, your therapist, and your partner, which is you can't really, I would advise not to say anything to your friend Maeve, mostly because this is your friend of 20 years. This is a relationship that you have obviously been truly invested in, that you have a vision for your future with this person. And man, you run such a tall risk of really not just hurting your partner, not just hurting your friend, their feelings, but really complicating or altering the dynamic between you and them. I don't see a way in which that is a productive sharing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that your friends are right, that like this is something that you're going to have to figure out for yourself, because I don't think it serves you or Maeve super well for you to tell her that you don't like Benny, right? Like, I don't think it solves the problem that's here. Like, I think it's actually going to like make things worse in a lot of ways. And I understand the idea of like, you want to be seen by your best friend and have her know that like, Benny talks too much and you don't like that about them, or you didn't like how Benny decided to impose polyamory on Maeve. And I think, I do think that there might be some fodder for curiosity in this, in your sort of relationship with Maeve around like, how are you feeling about polyamory now that, it's been 3 years and I know that you were really resistant to it at first and you didn't like how it was kind of imposed on you. Like, how do you feel about it now? Like, what are you grappling with? What are you thinking about? Right. Or, I've noticed that you sometimes cut Benny off when they're kind of on like a long conversation about stuff. Like, how does that land on you? Like, how do you feel about that? Can I be helpful for you in some way to help redirect the conversation or like whatever it might be? Like, I think that there's definite fodder for you to talk about some of the things that you're noticing about Maeve's relationship with Benny, but I don't think that you saying I don't like Benny is like gonna create like a healthy and constructive way of you sort of dealing with the fact that your your best friend is picking a partner that you don't particularly like. So I want you to approach this with curiosity, and it is honestly reminding me of what Sierra and I just talked about in the last episode with my friend who told me that thing around like the idea that you have about how things should go would work really well for you. That doesn't mean that it's going to work really well for Maeve, right? Like, yes, I can see that you wouldn't be getting married to Benny, right? Like, I'm seeing that if Benny did the same thing with you and you were in relationship around the polyamory, that like you would be upset and that would be a deal breaker for you. And that doesn't mean that that's true for Maeve. It might be true for Maeve that in fact, it is true for Maeve. Like, I believe Maeve that she loves this person, that she wants to be with them, right? Like that this person is the person that she wants to spend her life with. And like, just because it's different from what you would want for her doesn't mean that it's a bad decision. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. And I want you to be able to trust your friend enough to say, I don't understand you fully because we're not the same person, but I trust that you are capable of making good decisions for yourself, even if I don't understand them as somebody who's not you, right? Like, I want you to be able to hold that love and trust for Maeve in a way that's going to be supportive of the fact that you are, at the end of the day, two separate people who have different opinions, feelings, decisions about what you want your lives to look like.
Yeah. I'm interested also, I love the exercise of trusting Maeve. And I know that it's hard to like sit in your trust when like, how about this? Your trust of Maeve and her ability to forgive and love and desire Benny is entirely separate of your actual enjoyment of him. Do you know what I mean? If we compartmentalize our feelings, your trust of Maeve, your you're fostering, cultivating a healthy relationship with this person you love has nothing to do with Benny, even though you have to interact with him at the same time. Like, it's confusing. I understand why you are emotionally confused. I want to like reframe a couple things first, and this is just maybe like my morbid sense of time and impermanence that's coming out right now. But you say like, oh my God, this is their life partner. We nothing is promised to us. Nothing is a guarantee, and we are always only in a current moment. You know, this is only the way it is right now. I think our anxiety loves to revel in the permanence of things. Of, oh my God, it's going to be awful forever. I'm going to hate Benny forever. I'm going to have to listen to his stupid. I'm going to hate Benny forever. I'm going to have to listen to their stupid, medieval facts forever. And this will always be like this. We also get caught up in good always. Maeve will always be my friend. Maeve will always be in my life. Maeve will always want to be with Benny. There are a lot of unknowns here. And I this is probably coming off as morbid or like anti-romantic. That's not the point I'm trying to make. This is just a small exercise to remind yourself, like, this is the way it is right now, and it's probably not going to be like this forever. Something will give. Something will change. And I'm not talking about Benny magically disappearing from your life and then your life continuing as though they never existed. I'm just saying time changes everything. And so it sounds like if you've talked to your friend, your partner, your therapist, and two strangers from the internet, it sounds like a lot of what you're struggling with right now is the lack of control, the lack of, the just general discomfort, the general frustration, the like, man, this person's stuck in my life. This is why I'm offering this small redirect or perspective shift of just like, this is the way it is now. It's not going to be like this forever. I don't know what it's going to be like in the future, but right now it's uncomfortable. And right now I am frustrated. And right now I'm not looking forward to the wedding. And right now I can't access my gratitude for this person who makes my other favorite person so happy, The other thing I want to offer is, can you, and maybe your partner, your partner, not your therapist, maybe your friend, if your friend knows Benny, I want you to talk like an outsider about what Benny brings to your friend's life. What does Benny bring in this relationship? Why does Maeve love Benny? Right? And I don't want you to answer it from the friend perspective. I don't want to answer it from your experience of Benny. If anything, I want you to let go of the polyamory experience, because it sounds like Maeve has settled into that lifestyle and is really happy there. Yep. Did it unfold in a way that like was not ideal and probably a little bit unhealthy? Yes. But
yeah, sounds that way.
We have to trust that Maeve has forgiven and decided to move on for their own reasons, But what I'm wondering is, what does Maeve bring? What does Benny bring Maeve? Where does she rest in their love? I have recently, in the last couple seasons of my life, humbled myself the fuck out by just trying to remind myself that other people get different things from other people, and in that humbling, I can see other people's gifts. And I hear it in your letter. You say, Sierra, Sam, I've tried really fucking hard to like this person and I just fucking can't. So I know you've done this. This is just a small perspective shift or exercise that maybe you can try to do that might offer you a different perspective. If not, my bad. Fast forward through this episode and never do it again. But like, okay, so, things that Willow brings to my life are stability, support, humor, companionship, hotness.
Babosity, I would call it.
Yeah, babosity. A sense of family and a sense of belonging. And those things really matter to me. Do they matter to Sam in the same way? I don't know. I'm not in Sam's body. Things that Peter what does Peter bring you that maybe we wouldn't see on a friend level? You know what I mean?
Kindness, compassion, a willingness to go the extra mile, stability.
That's a great answer just from out the bat, as they say in season 1.
As they say, yeah.
Because I wouldn't, as one of your closest friends, I would never be like, oh, Sam looks for kindness. Sam is a person who needs kindness. Like, I wouldn't describe you that way. Not in.
That's real.
There's no I don't mean it in a detrimental way, but I would be like, oh, Sam is really smart. They really like intelligent conversations, and they like to dance. That's me as a friend. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, Sam is looking for a really kind partner, but Peter brings kindness to your life.
Yeah.
He brings compassion.
I need kindness. I think kindness is something that's hard for me to access for myself. And I think Peter brings it in ways that I absolutely needed and didn't know that I needed until I met him. But this isn't about me. This is about Maeve and Benny.
That's just an illustration, though, of, we don't know what other people are getting from their relationships. We don't know unless we are in their bodies, in their mind, in their history, in their relationships. We don't know. And what makes sense to me, what I'm getting from your letter is like, I don't like Benny, and I don't like some of the things they have done to Maeve. And that is really reasonable. That makes
also, they sound annoying.
Ton of sense to me. Yeah, honestly, sounds annoying. And there are things that you may not be able to see, touch, experience, or understand that Maeve gets from Benny. And maybe that's what we need to settle on. Not, I need to get to a place where I like Benny or I accept Benny. But instead, you need to get to a place where you can say, I accept that my experience of Benny has nothing to do with Maeve's experience of Benny. Yep, I accept absolutely. That I may never understand what she sees in Benny.
Yep.
And that's the acceptance.
Yep. And that choosing to have Maeve in my life also means that I am choosing to have Benny in my life, right?
It's kind of like an opportunity cost.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What I'll tell you is that when I had a friend who started dating somebody that I didn't like, I had a long conversation with my therapist, because my friend and I had even gotten into a fight about this person, the first actual fight that I think the two of us have ever had of I was like, I know this person, I don't like this person, why are you dating this person? And they were like, I get to decide what I'm going to do with myself, right? I don't know this person in the same way that you do, so I'm going to decide. And I had a conversation with my therapist where I was similar to you. I think was I'm so frustrated. I don't want this person in my life, and now they're going to be in my life. And I feel like he doesn't trust that I know enough about this person. All of these different things were coming up. And what I had to have a conversation with my therapist was is this worth ending this friendship that you've had for this many years because you don't want to have to deal with this person, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't get to decide who my friend is dating. I said my piece, and my friend was like, that's it. I hear you, and I also I'm not taking that advice, right? So I had to decide, is it worth it for me to stand my ground so much that I alienate this friend of mine? Or is it more important for me to put up with the fact that I don't like this person because it means that I still get to have my friend in my life? And at the end of the day, I made the decision to have this friend in my life. And then what I had to do is I had to commit to that decision. I had to be I am actively choosing to continue my friendship with this person because it is deeply important to me. And part of that means that I then have to have this person I don't like in my life. And I can make decisions about how I interact with that person. I can show them kindness. I can walk out of the room if they're doing something that I don't like, right? I can talk to Peter about the fact that I still don't like this person and I don't like the way that he's doing things, right? But I am actively choosing, it is my decision to be friends with this friend that I've had for this many years and have this person in my life because I can't separate those two things from each other. I had to pick, and then I had to commit to that picking and remind myself I'm actively choosing this, right? This has not been thrust upon me. I have choices here. I could choose not to have this person in my life, and I could choose to not be friends with this friend, but I'm choosing because I love this friend so much to be in friendship with them, to continue to be part of their life, even with this other person in it. And that honestly gave me much more perspective to be like, okay, so then how am I going to deal with this fact as opposed to railing against the fact that it's happening, right?
Yeah.
This person's in my life and he's going to be in my life. How do I find ways to make inroads with him? Or how do I find ways to extract myself when he's around? Like, there were lots of different gives and takes, and it was worth it because I needed this friend of mine to be my friend because it was important to me because I love him and wanted him to be part of my life for forever.
Yeah, absolutely. This is hard. We are not in it, so we can talk about it intellectually. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
This is tiring. It's isolating. It's confusing, and it's even a little bit sad. There's sadness in here, but it doesn't make you a bad friend. And in fact, Sam and I know that you can commit to being a great friend by exercising some of these perspective shifts that Sam and I have offered, by, committing to this friendship, by finding healthy, productive outlets for some of your discontent, and, letting yourself leave the room, letting yourself say to Maeve, I'd really love some one-on-one time, or, how can you invest in that friendship, not, avoiding Benny, but really fostering what you already have, the foundation of that great friendship. This is all tricky, and we love you, and we really hope this helps.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for writing. We love you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in more content from us, or if you would like to get ad-free episodes, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music, recording, editing, producing all magical things. By our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his podcast and music. And remember, it's okay if somebody's person isn't your person. And it's okay if that's really hard for you to deal with. It doesn't make you a bad friend. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a person with complicated feelings. You can feel complicated. You can feel confused. You are capable of feeling that discontent and choosing healthy relationships, healthy communication, and your friend. And if all else fails,
just break up.